Welcome. I'm Edward, the Training and Technical Sales Manager here at RPB Safety. In this quick video, we're going to go over the Z-Link with the Tychem neck seal, as well as connecting it onto the PX5 PAPR system. So to start with, we're going to talk about the Z-Link. A few things to note with the Z-Link is that the visor does flip open. And this is a great way to be able to replace the visor on that Z-Link. So you'll notice that there's two Z-Link logos on either side of the bottom of the jaw. Behind those logos is clips that clip the visor together. Releasing those clips allow that visor to separate, which then enables that lens to come out and be replaced. When you're replacing that, you want to make sure you've got the lens and the locator at the bottom. You also want to then make sure you get the two locators on either side in the right locations. And then when you come to shut the visor together, you want to make sure you hold the lens in with your fingers, and then using your thumbs with the helmet facing away from you, make sure that that visor shuts underneath over the top of the lens so that that's all sealed up. Once that's done, you can then clip the bottom together, and that is then in place. You can then shut that visor and you're then ready to go. Inside the helmet, you'll see that there's a replaceable brow pad that can be unvelcroed and replaced. There's also an adjustable air vent that can channel the direction of airflow inside that helmet. There's then a ratchet strap at the back that can tighten onto your head or loosen if needed. And then there's a replaceable top pad that can also be unvelcroed and machine washed in a cool wash and air dried, or you can simply replace that. The Z-Link is offering you full hard hat protection, as well as the full Z87 Plus eye protection, as well as maintaining that positive pressure inside the respirator, giving you an assigned protection factor of 1000. Now, to start with the setup, you first want to take your breathing tube, and you'll notice one end is threaded, the opposite end is a bayonet. The bayonet end is going to go onto our PX5 later, but for now we're going to thread that breathing tube onto the back of our Z-Link. And you want to make sure that's done up good and tight so that that's a sealed connection. Now we're going to go over setting up your PX5. So first you want to remove the contents from your box, and you'll notice that the PX5 itself will come with small stickers holding that filter door on. You can remove those stickers. Now, one of the safety features of the PX5 is that you can't use this without the proper filtration in place, which is why we've stuck sticky tape on the door to stop it from falling off while it's in transit. So we're going to take our HEPA filter, we're going to remove that from the packaging, and you'll notice that there's two tabs at the top. Those two tabs are what need to locate into the top two locators at the top of that PX5, the top being where the air outlet is. So you can then locate that in and then clip that filter together at the bottom. That is then completely sealed up and giving you that filtration that you need. You will then have received a pack of 10 of the pre-filters. We're going to take one of those pre-filters, and you'll notice that there's slots in the bottom and one slot at the top. You're going to take the bigger slot that's in the center at the top, and you're going to mount that onto the locator on the top of that PX5. Once that top locator is in place, you're then going to make sure that you get the two little bottom ones in position. And then we can take our front door and clip that onto the whole PX5, making sure that that's clipped together correctly. You'll know it's clipped together correctly when you're not seeing any gaps around the outside of that PX5. Now we can take the battery. So on the bottom of the PX5 is a sealed battery compartment. What we're going to do is we're going to open that compartment, and we're going to have first fully charged our battery for at least 3 to 5 hours by placing it into the charger that is provided. Once that battery is fully charged, we can then plop it inside the PX5, and what you'll notice is that the LEDs briefly indicate, giving you an idea of what that current battery charge is. You can then shut that door, and that then seals that battery up from any contamination or moisture that may get exposed to the PX5 while it is in use. It also protects that battery from any unwanted bumps or knocks that could potentially damage that battery. That battery is now sealed up inside there, protected from all of that. Now, before we start using our PX5, we first want to go ahead and turn that unit on. This is now going to show us the LEDs on the side that are going to tell us our battery life. It's also going to show us what fan speed we've got set to, as well as our filter capacity. We've just installed new filters in this unit, so we're only showing one green light. As that filter gets clogged, the lights will change from green to an amber and eventually a red before the unit will start to alarm and vibrate. Once it gets to that point of alarming and vibrating, you want to remove yourself to a safe area where you can replace that filter or maybe even recharge that battery. So it's important when you do get that alarm and vibration when you're wearing the unit in use that you take the unit off once you're in a safe place. Check what the LEDs are showing you, whether or not it's a flat battery or the filter needs to be replaced, and act accordingly. Now, you may also want to check your PX5 for flow. There's a provided flow meter inside your packaging that the PX5 was packed in that you can insert into the inlet of the PX5. What's important to know is that you want to first make sure you've had your PX5 turned on and running for at least 5 minutes before you do this test. That way you're going to ensure the unit has stabilized in the environment that it's in before you take that flow reading. So for now, we're going to turn this unit on, and we're going to imagine we've waited for that full 5 minutes. And we're then going to make sure that our ball is floating above the line that is according to your level of altitude above sea level and also temperature. And you'll be able to see there are different levels on the label that are supplied with that flow meter. Once you're satisfied that you've got the right amount of flow, you can then remove that flow meter, and we can then go ahead and attach our breathing tube. With the breathing tube now attached, now we can go ahead and turn our PX5 on. It is really important to make sure the PX5 is turned on with air flowing into the respirator before we try and put that on. That way it makes it feel a bit more comfortable while we're doing that. We're not trying to reach around the back and control the PAPR. We've got much better visibility over the LEDs. Before we put that on, we can make sure we've not got any visual indication of filters getting blocked or of a battery that needs to be recharged, because we're checking all of that before we're putting that unit on. Now briefly, with the belt can easily be removed from our PX5. There's a lever down the bottom here that you can lift up. Once that is lifted up, you can then rotate that belt holder that then removes that from the PX5. To reinstall that, you simply just locate that back into position and twist it until the clip clips into position at the bottom. Now we can undo the belt buckle and proceed to put on our PX5. Know that I've still got the PX5 running. So now that the PX5 is installed and is snug around my waist, I can now take my Z-Link, and I may want to loosen the strap around the neck that creates that positive pressure within the respirator, and then plop that on over my head. and reach up inside and tighten that head suspension. You want to also make sure that you're getting the brow pad of the Z-Link in the right spot on your head to make sure that it fits comfortably. You can then make sure that that breathing tube is around the back. And finally, make sure that you cinch this up just so that it's snug around your neck and not cutting circulation off, but just so that it's snug so that you've got that positive pressure within that respirator. So that's how to don the Z-Link with the Tychem shroud and the PX5. Now to doff this, you simply lift it up and away from your head to ensure you're not getting any dust or debris that may be on the respirator back onto your eyes. So you're lifting it up and away. You can then place the helmet down and then undo the buckle around your waist with the PX5. And before we turn the PX5 off, you want to then just check the LED indicators to make sure you don't need to replace that filter or recharge that battery for the next use. Once you're all clear with those indications, you can then press and hold the off button. That'll shut the PX5 down. You're then safe to store this unit. Thank you for watching.